With that, we'll start our meeting. Our Selma City Council regular meeting. It's January 17th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the Selma City Council chambers. Hope everyone had a good holiday. We are going to be conducting this meeting in accordance with AB 361 and Government Code Section 54953, which means this meeting will be held remotely. Members of the public may access the meeting using the following information. Teleconference phone number 301-715-8592, and the webinar ID is 891-6864-5005. When on the phone, if you wish to address council during the public comment portion of the agenda, press *9 to raise your hand and we will select you from the meeting queue. Press *6 to unmute and mute yourself. Before we move forward with this meeting, could we please have a moment of silence for Pastor Gene Smith and for Velma Quintana, both of whom passed away recently, great people who made such a difference in our community. Could we please bow our heads? Thank you for that. These fine people will be missed. And with that, we will have our invocation led by Pastor Jose Alvarez of the Iglesia Antioquia. Welcome, Pastor.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Happy New Year's.
Here.
Start this year with the blessings of the Lord. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, we just thank you right now, Heavenly Father, that you have given us one more year, Heavenly Father, so we can do your work, God. We just ask you that you take control of this meeting and the whole year. And we just put everything in your hands right now, asking for the direction of your Holy Spirit so we can do your work and we can glorify your name. In the name of Jesus Christ, Heavenly Father, we thank you and we love you with all our hearts. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for the flag salute. Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please, City Clerk. I haven't been able to say that in a while.
Councilmember Guerra,
Here.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro. Here. Councilmember Trujillo.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho.
Here.
Mayor Robertson.
Here, potential conflicts of interest. Any council member who has a potential conflict of interest may now identify the item and recuse themselves from discussing and voting on the matter. Agenda changes or deletions to better accommodate members of the public or inconvenience in the order of presentation. Items on the agenda may not be presented or acted upon in the order listed. Additions to agenda may be added only pursuant to California Government Code Section 54954.2b. With that, we'll move on to oral communications. At this time, any member of the public may address the City Council regarding any item over which the council has jurisdiction. No action or discussion will take place on any item not on the agenda. Issues raised will be referred to the city manager for review. Members of the public shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes, and speakers are asked to address their comments to the City Council to limit the city's liability. Does anyone have anything they would like to say at this time? That will move on to our, okay, come forward. Come on forward. Now's the time.
Jim Abelos, 1701 Dinuba.
Is your mic on?
On your consent calendar here, just a question for the council. Item number 3, approving the adoption of the management policies. I'm questioning that is, and also I'm also questioning the number 5, reading ordinance of City of Selma, amending the section 113 titled City of Selma multi code, City of Selma purchasing system, and deleting. Do
you want to address them when those actually come up?
When that comes out, I'll address it.
Okay, thank you for that. Anyone else have any items they would like to address at this time?
It's Anita Gonzalez. I live at 2743 Sierra Madre Court. I'm here for you guys to put bumpers. This is my granddaughter when she was in a coma, and she shouldn't got hit. I'm not just fighting for her, I'm fighting for all the kids here. You guys need to put bumpers in all the schools before, look what happened. A 17-year-old girl died. Do we need more of that? Open your eyes, guys. She was in a coma, my granddaughter. You know what? Prayers. She's a miracle. Her and her friend Eva, they are miracles. They made it. We don't need what happened to that 17-year-old girl. We don't need more of that. Please vote for that. You guys don't know what we went through. They're watching. My granddaughter went back to school, but they're watching her because she was hitting depression. I told the doctor she needs to go back. Couldn't do nothing. She wouldn't fix her hair. She wouldn't brush her teeth. Nothing, you guys. You don't need something else to happen again. Please vote for bumpers for all these schools and for all these kids. We don't need kids to get run over again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Do we have anyone on the phone? Anyone on Zoom? Okay. With that, we will begin our first item tonight, which is the city council reorganization. And the first item is to consider approval of the resolution certifying the November 8th, 2022 general election. Our city clerk has this one.
Apologies, Mayor. Yes. As everyone in the council knows, we received information from the county certifying the election last month, the consolidated election that was held on November 8th. The information before you has the requirements on the resolution according to election code 10263 and election code 10264. So the statute is very specific on the information that is required on the resolution before you that dictates the information that we received from the county. So with that, I would need a motion and a second.
Is there a motion to adopt the certification?
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Second it.
call the roll, please.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro. Yes. Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Yes.
Congratulations to you all. And with that, we now will do the presentation of the oath of office to our newly elected Mayor Scott Robertson and council members John Trujillo and council member Sarah Guerra. So will I ask you three to stand? And if you would please raise your right hand, and when I am through, please respond with "I do." Solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon that of which you are about to enter.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you all.
Thank you.
Okay.
And continuing my role, I will now present you three with your certificates of election.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.
Continuing with my role, we will now ask for the selection of Mayor Pro Tem per ordinance number 2020-1. According to our ordinance, We will ask for a motion and a second for Mayor Pro Tem.
Their motion?
I'll make a motion, to approve, Bev Cho, Mayor Pro Tem.
Second.
I second it.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro.
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho. Mayor Robertson.
Yes.
Congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Cho.
Anybody want to weigh in? We'll just go down the line. Councilmember Mendoza Navarro, did you want to make a comment?
Yes, congratulations to everyone. I know it was, I think it was different this time because of the fact that we weren't in COVID. So you guys were out there, working hard, pounding that pavement. And I just, what I wanted to say is, there was no change this time. So we all know our styles. We all know what talents we bring to the table. And I think that for the next, couple of years, we did have we need to have a clear vision of what we want for the city. And, the biggest thing that I want is to make sure that we have teamwork and, we have good collaboration. One of the citizens brought to the table a while back that, what was our vision? What was each individual council member, what was the vision that we had for the city? In our own words, no, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, like a clear vision of what Selma, what we have for Selma. My personal vision and my personal goal is to continue with the growth, continue to make those moves with housing, with jobs, with hospitals. We actually need hospitals. We need more jobs, we need more nurses, we need more EMT, we just need everything. And so I think that for my goal is I want to be able to continue to move forward, with what we've set in place already. And again, I say teamwork, and I say we're not always going to agree, but at the end of the day, if we have the same vision and the same goal for what we want to see for Selma, I think that we should set aside any differences and then just get back to that goal of moving Selma forward. And as I mentioned, the talents, I think of the Bible scripture about what talents do we bring to the table. So are we going to, produce more talents? Are we going to be the one that produces the 10 talents, the 5 talents, or the no talents? So for me personally, I'm going to bring the 10 talents, and so that's my goal. And I just want to, congratulate this team, like I said again, and, I look forward to another successful couple years, because I know in a couple years I'll be running again. So, or we'll be, have more the new elections. And so I just want to congratulate everybody.
Councilmember Guerra?
Okay, first of all, I just want to start by thanking my constituents, citizens of Selma, my family that were there for me and supported me, and also the support of my parish, for the St. Joseph Church, all the parishioners that supported us and helped us through our election, our campaigning, and the prayers that they did for us. So again, I want to thank all my family members for always being there for me, supporting me. And also I want to say happy birthday to my baby girl, Bella Guerra. Today is her birthday, and we're both sharing a special day today. So thank you, baby, for always being there for me too. Again, I want to reiterate what I ran for is always the public safety, making our city safe for everyone. And there's a lot of work to be done. And it doesn't start just, on the streets. We're talking about what we just heard in regards to children, our children. So I want to also make that a focus and work diligently with our school boards. Our members get together and hash out, what our issues are, because we, as a community, we need to work together for the betterment of our city. So I'm going to continue with those goals, as I talk to my constituents. What they want to see is housing, upscale housing, mid-scale housing, lower end scale. I mean, we need to accommodate. So, and also our commercial businesses, we need to bring more businesses. We want to work very diligently with our developers to make sure that they are being taken care of and we can help them on the way because we want to be supportive. And when we're business growth, we want to be business friendly, and that's what we're about. So I'm going to continue with that role, and you'll see me again for 4 years. Again, I have an open door policy. My constituents know that they can come to my office and talk to me. They call me, so that's still open. So you're welcome to come in anytime. Thank you.
Councilmember Trujillo.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank my constituents, the people that elected me, thank them for all the input they gave me, all the information they gave me, and once again, coming back for the second term. It's really funny when you come to a community and you've been here almost 20 years and you realize and you build a business and and you see and you're actively talking to the community, you find out what the past administration did and what the future administration is going to do. So for me, I thank my constituents, but I want to thank my wife for being there for me. I know it's hard. It's really hard, especially in this beautiful town of Selma. We have very talented people with very numerous things that they do for this community. And thank my family for showing up. Thank for the people that came and supported me, walked for me. They're all here. I appreciate you guys. But and my vision started in 2000. I started a business in 2000. I share my vision when people come and eat at my restaurant and when they come and do their taxes at my office. And what I've told them is this, plain and simple. When I reviewed, and 4 years ago, when I reviewed our budget, I realized that we didn't have infrastructure. We didn't have master plans. We didn't have what we need. And as long as I can convince this majority of this council to have a vision of bettering the infrastructure, master plans, and helping our city staff become what they can do and invest in our staff. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to make sure that we understand that everyone has their own road. A council member, delegates, and a staff works. And that's what I'm here for. I've heard it from the constituents to stay in your lane, stay in your lane. That's what they've asked us to do. So I'm here for that. I'm here to try to convince every council member and the mayor to stick to a vision that I approve, that I want for this community. But there's a reason why, because I love this community and I've invested in this community. So I thank the constituents. I thank my wife. I thank my family. I thank all my staff, all the staff that I see. I know it's a lot different, but I'm willing to take the hits because I invest into this community. And I thank you guys for that. Okay. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho.
Yes, I welcome I guess it's the same council, but congratulations. And thank you so much to honor me to be Mayor Pro Tem again. I learned a lot in the last 2 years. Learned how to sign a lot of checks. I did request a desk back there. But no, it's really good. Meeting all the staff and it's like, in a level of, just regular people, and it's a really a neat experience. I do share the most, the vision that we have for Selma, and I want to see the growth. And I think we have come a long ways in the 2 years. I'd like to see it again for the next following 2 years. So thank you.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody who supported me for mayor. And I thank the people for electing me as Selma's first elected mayor, the second straight time. It's my fourth election, my fourth successful election. And I really appreciate everybody's input because it was truly a team effort. It wasn't me, just like I said 2 years ago. It was a team effort of family and friends and constituents. And I look at Selma as my extended family. And, everybody who came out and supported did such a great job in letting me know what was on their mind about the message. And the message is your message. Your message is that the citizens of this town matter, and we represent the citizens of this town. You see what's going on up here, but the real action takes place in our city, in public safety, in you being able to have your kids go to the Raisin Festival in May without worrying that they're going to be a victim of a drive-by. That's really important. It's important to be able to not have to go to Fresno for your shopping. And we will continue that. It's important for the kids to be able to play soccer on grounds that's not going to skin their knee. We need more park space for our kids. You spoke and I listened. And specifically, what you told me you wanted was you want that park for our kids. You want the PD to wear body cams for their safety as well as ours. You want better internet access. That should be a right. You want a farmer's market. You want our next generation to be able to assume leadership of our city, because that's how we will truly grow. You've heard a lot of words, but we need action. And it's going to be our next generation that brings us into action and brings us to the next generation. You want your street signs to be legible, not just on the east side, but on the west side, on both sides. You want a downtown that attracts visitors, not repels them. And finally, you want speed bumps around the schools. We don't want kids to be harmed or killed anymore. We want to make these solutions, and everything I just said is about us, the citizens. I thank the employees of our city for the great job that they do. I represent our citizens and I represent our city hall as a citizen representative. I got involved because I'm a business owner, I'm a resident here, and I just wanted to make life better for us in our city. And again, I appreciate the vote of confidence. I will listen to you. You could call me. You can come by just as you've always been able to. And let's do this together. Let's not bully. Let's not blow a bunch of smoke. Let's get to work. Let's make our town better. Because I know we can do that. We have it in us. Under God, we can do this and make our town a better place to live. And I want to thank everybody for their support, and I want to thank everybody for their input. And with that, we're going to actually, before we take a little break and have some cupcakes, we're going to have a special presentation, the introduction of our new staff. And then we will get to the cupcakes.
Thank you, Mayor Robertson. We're here before you with some exciting information. Our Selma family at City Hall is growing, and so and within the city. First, I'd like to introduce Alvin Diaz, our newly hired Public Works Director. Alvin comes to us from the city of Visalia, where he worked as a Parks and Facilities Manager. And so we're really excited. He's made some really tremendous changes since he's been on board in the short time. We're extremely blessed to have you with us and to be on our team. And we can't wait to see what the future brings for Selma, for our residents, and just a great road ahead. And so if you'd like to say a few words, now's your.
Good evening, Mayor, fellow council. Just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised about 20 minutes south of Selma in Hanford, California. Started my career there, worked my way up to Parks Superintendent for approximately 18 years. And then I moved on to the city of Visalia, where I was the Parks and Facilities Manager. Learned a lot of great things there with my years of experience. And I really look forward to the opportunity to work here in Selma with a great team and build on what they've started. And I think Selma is a charming city with a lot of potential, and I'm very happy to be here and be a part of the team. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Alvin. And next we have Andrea Gonzalez, who is our newly hired accountant. And she's a great asset. She actually comes to us from Guarantee Real Estate, which is a private sector, and where she worked as a staff accountant for many years. And she's a Fresno State grad. And again, you know, she's come on board. She's hit the ground running, and she's just totally embraced her role as accountant, and she leans on our newly hired accountant, Jacob, who was previously introduced, and we're really building a great team. And so we're really excited to see what Andrea brings to our team and everything that she has to share and contribute. And so I'm going to allow her an opportunity to say a few words. She was shy, so I told her, you got to start somewhere. So
Good evening, City Council and Selma community. My name is Andrea Gonzalez. I'm the new accountant. I graduated from Fresno State and I was previously employed at Guarantee Real Estate as the accountant. I'm very excited and thankful to be a part of the City of Selma team. So thank you for that opportunity.
Welcome.
thank you, Andrea.
That it?
That would be it.
We
yes.
also have a new city attorney tonight. Megan, would you like to introduce
yes.
yourself?
Yes, hello, council. I'm happy to be here. My name is Megan Dodd. I, with Alvin, come from the city of Hanford. I've been practicing solely with municipalities for the past almost 5 years now. So I'm really excited to be here. I think we're gonna make a great team together.
Welcome.
We'd also like to welcome back our city clerk, Reina Rivera. Welcome back. And with that, we're going to take a 15-minute break for photos, and buddy, we have cupcakes and cookies over there, and we'll reconvene at 6:40.
I know. They're like, oh my God, they stayed mellow for the first, yeah.
For the first few snaps.
I know.
Then it all
They're
fell
like,
apart. Do we have to keep doing this?
I know, get me out of here. Yeah. They did good.
Okay, we're gonna get started again. And we are going to move on to our consent calendar. All items listed under the consent calendar category are considered routine. The complete consent calendar will be enacted by one motion by roll call vote. For purposes of discussion, any council member may have an item removed from the consent calendar and made part of the regular agenda. The council can then approve the remainder of the consent calendar. Does anyone have an item or items they would like removed from the consent calendar tonight?
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to remove item 6, check register.
Item 6. I would like to remove item 5. And then I believe we had someone in who wanted item 3 moved, okay? Anyone else? Is there a motion to approve items 2 and 4?
I'll make a motion.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Okay, yes. Item 3, we're going to start with when we had a member of the public who wanted to address this item.
Jim Abloh, 1701 Dinuba. Item 3. The reason why I'm questioning this item here is these two items, 3 and 5, is because of the record policy. and
We'll get to
everything.
5, just do 3 first. We'll get to 5.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about number 3. Number 3 is the management policies. The question is, I ask myself when I see these things, has the council looked at these policies and when you do the budget, when you guys do this budget, have you looked at this policy and also has the attorney have looked at these policies lately? Policies.
Thank you. City manager
I
has,
know the city manager is not here.
deputy
tonight.
city manager, has the newest city
Assistant,
attorney been
so-
able to review this provision?
I have reviewed everything in this packet, so I have reviewed. I don't believe that this would affect the budget in any way because it's not monetary related.
Okay, the reason why I'm saying about these policies, I want to make sure that these policies that you put in place, they're not liable for any civil actions. You know, because sometimes you put some record policies that put pressure on these individuals and they get stressed out. And we want to make sure we're in the guidelines of the state of California and the guidelines of the law on these record keeping policies, you know. I believe in policies, but also at the same time, I believe in the morale of the people as well as, but also the stress behind these policies. It's very important that when we develop policies, we make sure that we are doing our job correctly. That's the only question I have on this particular issue.
Thank you for that. Okay, is there a motion to approve item 3?
I'll make a motion to approve all the item 3.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Yes. Okay, item 5 is the first reading of an ordinance relating to city's purchasing system and deleting sections 113.2 through 113.10. The reason I pulled this off was twofold. The first one is, if this is to change an ordinance, can this be put on consent? Does it have to be on the regular agenda and then on a public hearing?
It is going to be on general business for the next meeting when Fernando is here. But so just one of the readings has to, but this ordinance specifically also does not require a public hearing. Ordinance amendments do not always require public hearings, only planning related ones, anything where you're changing a fee but Fernando is planning on putting it on for a public hearing at the next meeting for its adoption.
Okay, so it will
Yes.
be a public hearing.
Yeah.
Is this like a complete replacement of the ordinance? This isn't like a change here and there. This is like a complete replacement, right? That's
Correct.
the
So
way I understand it.
what it's gonna do is it is going to allow you guys to update your purchase policy by resolution, similar to like what you might do with fees. So it's taking the purchasing policy out of the municipal code and just adopting it by resolution. And then you guys can revise it by resolution as you see fit.
Okay, so my other issue with this is and is a question, and we could probably talk about it during the public hearing, but has the city done an analysis of the other Fresno County cities as to what their purchasing officer, what their limits are for oversight? Because these are pretty steep limits. Do the other cities just have approval for contracts and goods and services over 100,000 without any kind of review by the city council? Or do they have another number where it starts?
So we did look at policies of other cities within Fresno County. What this does is this policy achieves efficiency while tightening up the internal controls. So while the spending limits might seem higher, there are internal controls put into place deep within the policy that go through the proper channels of approval, given the size of our city, as well as the increase in goods and expenses that are purchased to service the needs of our community. And so
So what you're saying
that-
in layman's terms is that we approve this now, but tomorrow morning we'll dictate and put the policy in so it can actually be ratified to what we're gonna purchase. Our city council will set the policy for that? Is that what we're asking?
Yeah, so what would happen tonight would be the first reading of the ordinance to basically approve the purchasing policy by resolution. At the next council meeting, you'll actually adopt it through a public hearing, and you'll also approve the resolution of the purchasing policy.
Just so people understand. This would change it. Right now, the city council, anything over 5,000, right, goes to city council and we take a look at it and review it and vote on it. This would raise that limit to 100,000. And for a city of our size with a $15 million general fund, $20 million budget, I wonder how many items actually go above $100,000. I mean, it couldn't be that many. It seems like that's a pretty high limit for the size of Selma. That's why I was asking the deputy city manager, and I appreciate you responding to that. What other cities do, because it'd be interesting to know what other cities of our size or even smaller or larger do in terms of approving authority, because I wouldn't have a problem with it, say, being 25,000, up to 25,000 wouldn't require review by city council, but anything above that, again, we're here to exercise oversight. We're an oversight board, and the ordinances is very clear that we're here to oversee the financial part of the city. That is like the only part of the ordinance where we can request something and we can get it right away, forthwith, financial information. The rest is not so clear, but that is. And for us now, as a city council, not to be able to exercise that oversight that the people elected us to do, I think is taking away one of our crucial job duties, if not the most crucial job duty of a council member, which is to oversee the finances. So 100,000 to me is really high. And I think that level needs to be changed.
I'd like to speak in behalf of, as a city council member and a mayor pro tem, when we look at our agenda item and we look at what the city manager brings to the city council and what they're actually asking, we all view it differently. We all view items differently. I'm going to give you a scope of how I view what he's presenting to the city council. My own opinion is that this is a first reading. This will be brought back to the city council with a hearing. This will be brought back to the council for the residents of Selma can go ahead and give their input. And we as a council can digest the input, and then we set the policies. So when you start saying that we're going to be reckless or we're going to give somebody a $100,000 or $10,000, that's not the case. That's not what I'm reading. And that's not what I understand it to be. So when we start talking about this, we need to talk about, we are the studios. We do look at the financial outlook of this community. We do want that. But that's why we hire competent staff to make sure they bring competent resolutions and input so we can actually review this. So when we all look at things, we look at them totally different. We view things differently. And I like to just share to you how I view it. I view it that the city manager has viewed things and has said that $5,000, that gives him the ability to keep on coming back to the council every meeting. That's like tying his hands. That's like 1980, 1990 expenditures. You buy a carton of eggs right now for $90. 300 eggs for $90. So what's he gonna do? Be coming to the city council every month for an approval? What we do as a council, this is my own opinion. What we do as a council, we approve legislation, we legislate and we approve policies and we let the professionals do the job. And they come back. So what do? We approve this, go to the second reading, we go to the first reading, they get public input, and then we approve it, or we change it around. Am I correct?
So all of this does is just allow you guys to adopt a purchasing policy by resolution. So then you guys can do whatever you want to that resolution and that purchasing policy, however you guys see fit. So the ordinance only just dictates the process for adopting that purchasing policy. It doesn't set the purchasing policy.
I just have a quick question. And I know I should probably be addressing this to the city manager, but he's not here today, so I'm just going to address it to you. But has there been an example or a situation that has come up recently in regards to city manager not being able to do his job efficiently or effectively because he had a $5,000 or over an amount that he had to bring to council? Because I don't recall anything coming to council over this amount that he's brought to us.
Not that I'm aware of. I've been with you guys for a short time. And so as we move forward with updating policies and procedures, I think that the flow chart that's provided on the back of the policy is a snapshot of just a quick and dirty visual of what's within the 110, 15 pages. And so I personally went through and rewrote this policy, and the last policy that the city of Selma has is from 1970. The ordinance was last written in 1970. And so if we go from 1970 to 2022, there's a lot that has changed in the way we do business, the way that, and even just from with my finance background, when we go through for me being in the auditor seat in my previous experience to being the finance director in my previous role, you may see that the thresholds are going up, but not necessarily. They're also coming down in certain areas. If you look at the staff report, there's a comparison of the existing ordinance versus what's in the proposed ordinance. It should say policy because the only thing that's changing in the ordinance is the language to allow the city council and staff to be able to change the purchasing policy by resolution, as opposed to going through and doing the changes to the policy as need be, as the industry changes, as internal control requirements change, and as the GASBs change with the government auditing standards and government accounting standards as they change. And so what's before you is your first look at the policy change, and that's the flow chart you see. But the actual agendized item is to change the ordinance, and maybe Megan can correct me if I'm wrong, is that the ordinance that's before you tonight for the first reading is the change from deleting all of those sections and replacing it with a new ordinance that allows the city council to make those changes to our purchasing practices and our purchasing policy by resolution as opposed to an ordinance change, which can run us, right? It has to be a first reading, second reading, and then it's another 30 days after that. And so by allowing city council and staff to make those policy changes by resolution, all it does is it's an efficiency. They'll still be done before the council. The policy changes will always be discussed before the council. And so staff will always have input. And so if that clarifies things, right?
So I just wanted to make a comment. This is really good for me because when I first started, I asked, where's your procurement policy? And I was given this like deer in the headlights kind of look, like we don't have anything. And especially because the ordinance is over 50 years old. And so you're right, there's a lot of things that change. I mean, just on a personal level, us as consumers, you can't buy a carton of 18 eggs for less than probably $10. And so just the simple fact that, we go to the grocery store and you can't purchase things for, what we used to purchase them for, back in 1970. So these levels and this flow chart, I've gone through, in my previous employment, I was able to sit in the procurement role. And so I was a procurement analyst. And so this is actually what it looks like in the public sector, is that there is, these levels, and you're right, it does help with internal controls. And, there's certain people that have to have it signed off before they go somewhere else. I'm currently going through some software implementation changes, and this is exactly what we're doing as well, is that we're setting these limits and these internal controls so that our maintenance can't go out and spend $10,000. Yes, they have a limit because they need to do their job, but we're not going to hold them down to, oh, you have to go and ask for the board's approval before we can spend $5,000, when maybe that water drain is not, or the sewer leak is not going to wait till you have your next board meeting. Those are the things that I'm looking at. And like, Councilmember Trujillo said is, I'm telling you what I see in my lens. My lens is compliance. My lens is public funds. I'm a public steward, and we do need to have internal controls. And this actually spells it out, because I think that this is even easier so that we're not having, like you mentioned, having to bring back something, big purchases to be made every single time. So I'm excited because this is what I asked for when I first started on council. Thank you. Great job.
Anybody else? Take it to the public. Public have any comment on this item?
Jim Abbott, 1701, item 5. This is a big issue, guys. This right here is a game changer a little bit. And I'll give you an example. In the past, cities had problems with this. One was Fowler, one was Fresno County, on these issues right here, financial, purchase, and structure. Both got in trouble. Both no longer work for the cities. Okay. And when I see these things is, you guys are up there. You guys, your job is to watch taxpayers' money, how it goes. Your responsibility. I don't care if it's 5 cents, 10 cents, $1. You're responsible for every tax dollar into the public sector. So this is basically, when I see this is not doing a check and balance operation. This is over expenditure. This is giving somebody the purchasing power that without going to council. And this is where you guys are responsible. Let's say that person bought something that you guys didn't like. Too bad. You're stuck with it. So, but also at the same time, your liability. There's liability behind this, big time. I believe that the expenditure should be under control. If you don't have it under control, you don't have the checks and balances as a council. And it falls on you guys. Myself, I will take a long look at this. But I'm actually, by looking at this, I'm opposed to this big time. As a previous council member, this is not applicable. I understand the changes of the structure of financing, but also over the years, we have audits. We came out okay in the audits. So nothing's broken. What's going on, guys? Okay? Think about this particular issue. This is a very hot issue for the public sector. And I want you guys, you're responsible for the taxpayers' dollars. Every cent falls on you guys. That's all I gotta say. And it's gotta be, make sure it's legal. It's another issue. Thank you.
Anybody else with any comments?
Ten 57 Mill Street, Rose Robertson. So if I'm understanding this correctly, you guys want to go from $5,000, 5,000 of a overseeing from city council to allowing $100,000 and not have to oversee and approve anything under $99,999. It's going to just be an approval because you guys are allowing this. I just want to make sure I'm understanding from $5,000, $99,999 of taxpayer money is going to be allowed to just go through without an oversee of the city council to make sure it's something appropriate and doesn't come back later, because when the fingers start pointing to each other, when something does happen, we want to make sure someone's going to be liable for this. And we want to make sure that the ordinance and how you guys are doing this, because I'm amazed that this was even on consent without even being brought as a regular item on the agenda. So hopefully we have errors in omission who's giving the advice of our council, and we have, some backing on the liability of this taxpayer money. It makes you wonder, citizens are going to wonder why you three are even up there, or why we have council that's supposed to oversight our taxpayer money that's so high like that to allow something like this to even go through without it being looked at for city council. That's your number one job, to oversee the taxpayer money. Thank you.
Anybody else? That will bring the matter back to the council. It's now an agenda item. What I was saying was I didn't have an issue with actually changing the policy and having a purchasing officer. My issue was the levels, the strata. To me, it's too high, and I would love to know what the other cities in our area actually have as purchasing limits that require council oversight, because I think 100,000 is too high for the size of Selma. With that, is there a motion?
Can I have a little more
Side.
discussion real quick?
Sure.
Well, before we have the motion, I'm for the project, but I think that we just had the mayor's wife step up and say that we're going to approve. We're going to be reckless with some money. So I think we need to discuss this item a little more. I think we need to be a little more transparent as to what it is.
Can you
and how it's
refer to
allowed.
the speaker? You don't have to refer to her as my wife, sir.
I'm
That is
looking-
a personal attack, and I'll take it as such. She is a speaker, a citizen who has a right to speak. You don't need to refer to her as my wife. She is a citizen, sir, and she has a right to address our council.
Okay, so let me rephrase what I'm going to say. A constituent came up to the council and addressed that the council is going to be reckless, and I would like some discussion with the internal of what we're talking about. Because I want to make sure through my lens that I'm understanding this correctly. And I think I have it down. I just want to make sure that the interpretation is presented properly. So when I do make a motion to approve this, and I also want to come back to the council and understand and reframe what we're talking about and bring back that we do need the code of conduct, because we need to keep this in a constructive way to complete discussions of what we're doing. So we can keep it professional. So I appraise and
Thank
I
you for
ask
that.
you, I ask all the council members to think about a code of conduct so we can keep these meetings professional and one way constructive, okay? So let's make that one point there. Second is, let's go back and digest what we all just heard in regards to constituents and what we've got from our city manager, acting city manager, and our attorney. Understand that this will be brought back to have a public hearing where the constituents of Selma will be able to address the concerns of what this policy is going to be like. This does not give a free rein, like our constituents stated, where we're going to spend recklessly money.
Yeah, correct. So this would not allow any city staff to spend, or this would not take it from 5,000 to 100,000 with approval tonight. All tonight we'll do is bring it back for a second read and public hearing and a resolution for the policy. And like I said, you guys can amend that policy as you see fit. If you want to lower those levels, you guys are welcome to do that.
And the constituents can come back, waive their concerns, and we can have dialogue to either or go up or go down, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve this.
I second it.
Okay, we have a person, a second. Was there any other discussion on the floor before we take the vote? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
No. Okay, item 6 on the check register. Councilmember Guerra.
Okay, I have a couple on here. I'll start with check number 80715. And it's for Beverly Cho for the senior Thanksgiving lunch reimbursement in the amount of $1,570.81. My question is in November, you mentioned that you were doing a charitable event for the seniors, doing a Thanksgiving dinner, and you were partnering with the Kiwanis and the Linas. And so when you addressed it, and you addressed it as a charitable event, why is the city paying you $1,570?
Okay, I will answer that. All the organization did chip in for this, like $250. I think that we got $1,900, which went into the senior center. Is there a fund for them? Okay, and basically that's where it should be coming out of. So is there a special account that's not on this list that is supposed to come out? Because, I did pay for this, and like I said, the money was in there. Usually I never use the whole budget, which is $1,900. I only spent 15. So whatever balance stays in the senior center account. So if they need any necessity, little things, they have some money in their account. And that's what we do. It's a running total every year. Okay.
Okay, so it goes back to the seniors?
They have a senior, could you explain that, please? Oh, I'm sorry.
You're good.
Amy could explain that.
Mayor and council members, yes, we do. We have a running senior account that is used for all of our senior services, whether it's for their trips or for their activities. Shocking, I was too loud. So yeah, so it's kind of like a revolving fund that we use. We're actually in the process with Emily and with Jasmine coming on of kind of re-identifying how we can better allocate those funds. But at current, that is the process that is in place.
Okay, but again, why is it being written out to Bev? Her personally?
Because I bought all the the food for it.
It was a reimbursement for the food that was purchased for that luncheon.
Food for this
Okay,
meal.
but in November, when she mentioned it, and she went on record that it was a charitable event. And when you say charitable, you're saying, I'm donating, this is, and then we're cutting her, well, the city's cutting her a check for what she says she paid for. So it's not a charitable event if you're getting reimbursed. Is that correct?
Gave them.
I mean, I just don't think that it should be, if it's involving the city, why isn't the city just cutting the check back to a fund of where it should go to for the seniors? Shouldn't that be paid out of maybe Parks and Rec or, so it It doesn't look like it's being paid out to an individual because that looks like it's double dipping. The city is paying somebody.
As the I guess I guess I do understand your confusion over the charitable of the context of the word. However, in this case, it was a reimbursement for things that she expensed. For us, we count it as a charitable because it is free to the seniors. They do not pay for any of that. And because of the time and energy that everybody did put into that. So these accounts right here, this is the fund that, I mean, it's been paid out of, from what I could tell, for the last, I mean, many
11 years we've been doing that.
So
yes.
if I could just say,
Yes.
as a business owner, a restaurant, Bev Cho walks around all the little businesses and she asks for a donation. And then she goes to the clubs and asks for a donation. And we write a check. Okay. But she tells us to write it to the senior. This is old practice. This is the practice that's been going since 2000. You write a check as a business owner, goes to the city. Okay. Doesn't go to Bev. Bev takes all the checks. She gives them to you guys cash them. Then she goes and buys everything and she goes, here's my receipt. This is what I understood because I'm on her Lions Club and I've seen this. So I understand the question she has but that goes back to policy and practice.
Right.
So
It just-
so that goes back to practice because if we have true practice and that goes to fundamental practices of how you practice to accounting practice.
Yeah, if I may. So from the accounting perspective or the accounting world, what it is the city collects a donation and it's received as a donation. So it comes in as revenue. And then whenever the receipts for the expenses are turned in, it offsets that revenue. So let's say somebody brought in $100 and they turned it into the city as a donation, and then they spent $90. That person, whoever turned in the receipt for $90 would get paid. And then the remaining 10 would just go into the revolving balance to be used on future. So I think.
Okay, then, so who maintains the revolving account? Whose name is on? There's got to be somebody as a treasurer or someone handling it.
Yes, that is all in the city's funds. That is all managed within all of our general fund and all of our budgets that we maintain. There is those records.
And so moving forward, like Amy had said, we're looking to revamp the way that the accounting system is done to provide for transparency to such matters.
So you don't think that opens up the city just a little bit to potential fraud? Not saying anything about the mayor pro tem. She's done this for years, but to have somebody be able to just say, okay, I'm going to tap into this. You know, you issue me a check for the amount in this fund. Why wouldn't the city just pay for the supplies with the cow card or something? So there could be a paper trail rather than a check to an individual,
Yes.
which
So we
to me
did collect
seems
the receipts.
not the right practice that's been going on for
And
some
I
time now,
absolutely
the
don't
last 4
disagree.
years.
That is absolutely why we've been having these conversations. Our current accounting system is outdated, to say the best possible way, I guess. And that is one of the things that Jasmine has been working very hard on. The rest of us have been working very hard on, is how we can have these policies and procedures that are in place that do allow us more transparent.
This kind of common
expenditures.
sense, right? This
Well, and
goes
for-
beyond policies and written fancy things. This is common sense accounting. You don't break checks out to individuals for amounts that the city could pay for. In my opinion, this is money that's been entrusted to the city from these nonprofits. And to give this to an individual, you could blame antiquated processes and codes and ordinances. We hear that all the time. But this comes down to, I think, just the optics of the situation. Not saying anything's wrong here, but I appreciate hearing that things need to change on this.
Right.
Because, individuals getting reimbursement checks after, they talk about how much they've donated to the city and they're all about the community, and that's good. But in this case, in this case, we really need to make sure that it's above board.
But yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'm with you. And you know what? And that's so true because, but if that's been the past practice and we've been approving it, they've gone through, right? It just goes through. But that's really why we need to step up and have our staff step up and start bringing those policies and ordinance to us, and we approve them. And the fact of the matter is that opens eyes up. And here we are, we have a
Why we
person.
provide that oversight, council member.
And
This
that's
is
why,
what
and
we're, this
and
is our
that's,
job.
you know,
to
we
oversee
have to,
this.
we have to ask, you
Why
know,
we're
we,
here.
we need to make sure that, you know, these policies and, but we have, we're so happy that we have a new finance person coming and we have a assistant city manager that has financing. And so, you know, I just first of all want to make sure that, I want to make sure I thank Bev Cho for everything you've been doing, because at the end of the day, it's not, nobody's pointing fingers. We're just saying that,
Right.
you know, you do a tremendous job and the seniors would not have what they have for what you do. So we need to work on that and we need to bring it back and fix it so she can make sure that she keeps on working hard.
Us doing our job.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's exactly my point. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm not saying that she's done this, she's doing something wrong. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's the policy. If we're going to be in compliance with good record keeping, that's what we're here to do. And I think you're absolutely right, Amy. You know, these are things that have to be looked at and revisited, and we have to come up with a better solution or better policy. That's all we're saying. So.
Okay, I have one more comment on that. When I do submit everything, the money that comes in with the city of Selma is made, let's say, all the checks are made to city of Selma. And I do always, at the end of this project, they have a report. All the income comes in, all the expense going out, what the balance is and what they, you know, the expense, of course, like I say, I charge everything. So that's, and I submit all my bills to them for that. Okay, so we do have a standard report, which you guys don't see, but.
And
know,
you are
like-
donating your time. So that's important.
Yeah, so, no, it's been a really, I'm proud of this project. You know, this is the only project that unify all our organizations in town. You know, and they're really happy of doing it and the seniors are very happy of doing it. So, you know, I'll just continue and whatever way you want to see it. You know, I mean, like I say, I make copies of all the checks before I even submit it to the city and then they all made to the city of Selma, not to
Yeah.
me.
Awesome.
Okay.
I know I'm an
Right.
insurance agent and I'll tell you some of the gnarliest claims I've seen are for nonprofits, unfortunately. And the best organizations with the best intentions. So compliance, as our council members have said, they're so into compliance, or at least one of them. We need to make sure that we back that up and we exercise compliance too and oversight. And I'm really glad that we had this discussion tonight. I think we're going to be a financially stronger city as a result.
I'll make a motion to approve 6.
I have a couple
Okay, okay.
items. Did anybody else have any check items? Did you have another one, Councilmember Guerra? Any other check items?
Oh, yes. Check number 80736 for Jam Services, Inc., yellow pedestrian push button with reversible sign in the amount of $672.55. Now, are those the shining lights where they press the button during like a crosswalk? And if it is, I'd like to, where did they put this one? If someone knows?
I would have to get back to council on that one. This was before I started, so I'll get that information and
Okay.
pass it back to city manager.
Okay, and then I understand, I know that the mayor had requested to put speed bumps on the agenda, which did not get put on here. I'd like to get this on the agenda for our next council meeting in regards to these yellow pedestrian push button signs along with the speed bumps.
I just had one or two. 80707 battery systems, batteries for school crosswalks. So those school crosswalks, those are battery operated.
They're solar and they charge the battery to operate, you know, at dusk and dawn. So they take a battery that gets charged by the solar panel to operate. So periodically they have to be replaced, to make sure they're functioning properly.
Okay. And then check 80732 Gateway Engineering, final document prep for Fresno County. What's that for? That project? $3,200. Can you just send out an email if you don't know?
Yeah,
Okay,
we will.
great.
That's what I was going to say.
Awesome.
We'll
Thank you.
refer back to the council.
Okay, and then
No. Yeah.
someone knows? Phil knows?
I believe that is for the CDBG project that is under their agreement.
Wow. really?
CDBG.
I believe so.
That's the stoplight on.
Is that
Maybe-
McCall?
No, I think it's
or is-
downtown, the downtown
Oh, the downtown
sidewalks.
Sidewalk.
I think it's the sidewalks.
Got it.
I believe that's what, but I'm not positive.
That's
Okay.
good.
All right.
That's good.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the check register?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, is there a
I'll second.
second? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Yes. Okay, our next item is on to regular business to consider the mayoral city council appointments to various boards.
Hello, council. So I know you guys have discussed this subject before, but there are certain boards and committees that you guys are part of as a city. And generally speaking, when we're dealing with committees that council is on, they're handled by appointment by the mayor, and then the council can either approve or reject those. Some of these joint powers authorities, as well as the sanitation district that the city is a part of, they dictate the method and sometimes the person that serves on those committees. So the goal tonight is to just go through the ones that aren't selected as the mayor automatically and determine what council would like to do for those committees.
Okay.
So the first one is the 5 Cities Economic Development Authority, and that can be representation by any member of the council, and that is selected by the city council.
Councilmember Cho, you the representative on
I
5
would.
cities
Yeah.
currently?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you're looking for a motion from the council to nominate someone to serve as the 5 cities.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to put
Board.
Bev Show. That's 5 cities.
Is there a second to renominate Bev Cho
I'll
as the
second.
representative? Okay, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro, Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Yes.
Okay, and then the next one is the Fresno Council of Governments. The mayor is the representative for that Joint Powers Authority, but an alternate can be selected by the council as well, so.
I'll continue to represent us as the mayor on Fresno Council of Governments. Is there a motion to choose the alternate, to select an alternate?
Motion to, can I nominate myself?
Can't.
Okay, I nominate myself to be
Yes.
on as an alternate.
I'll second it.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Yes.
Okay, and the next one is the Fresno County Rural Transit Agency. It can be representation by the mayor or council member. And that member shall be appointed by the city council, and you can also nominate an alternate.
So this one is, as a practical matter, at COG, I've never seen this split out between the COG representative and the FCRTA representative, just because the FCRTA meets right after the COG meetings. So if there was a different FCRTA director, they would have to come to the COG meetings and wait for the COG meeting to be over, whenever that is, and then would have to sit for the FCRTA. Just mentioning that before the
I make,
motion.
I make
is
a
made.
motion to appoint the mayor.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Yes. And then is there a motion to nominate an alternate for FCRTA?
Blanca tomorrow.
That would make sense.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Yes.
Okay, and then the Selma Kingsburg Fowler Sanitation District, that the mayor represents the city on that sanitation district, but the council can select an alternate for that.
I'll represent our city
I'll make a motion to appoint Blanca Navarro.
as the alternate. Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
No.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
No.
And then the Upper Kings Basin Integrated Regional Water Management Authority. That is also a joint powers authority. It can be representation by any member of the council selected by the city council. And then the alternate may be an employee or officer of the city. It is currently the city manager.
There a motion to?
Make a motion to
nominate?
put Sarah Guerra, Councilwoman Guerra.
He doesn't want to do it. If she doesn't want to serve, she doesn't have to serve.
You can reject or, yeah, you can reject.
Is there another motion?
I make a motion to nominate Bev to serve on.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
No. And then, so that's it. There are some other groups. There are some other commissions that we didn't address tonight. Well, how will those be addressed in the future?
I think you guys can request for those to be on a future agenda if that's what you guys would like to do, if you want to revisit them.
Because there's
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
the
yeah.
next meeting.
South San Joaquin Valley Citizens for Clean Air Committee, Highway 99 Beautification Committee, and the Team Selma.
Can we put those on next meeting and before the agenda?
Okay, so can we put that on the agenda for the next meeting?
Yep.
Okay. Right, moving on. Our next item is consideration of increase to fiscal year 2022-2023 for one full-time information technology technician employee position.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'll take this one. And so this item before you is the request to fund a full-time informational technology technician to be on site Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, to provide full-time support to our staff. As you know, the city currently contracts out with DataPath, and the DataPath representative is only here 2 days a week, which is Tuesday, Thursday, and unfortunately, that allotted time is not meeting the needs of our city staff and the needs within all of our departments, anywhere from Public Works, the police department, the fire department, being that there's multiple locations for the fire department, as well as City Hall. And as we grow and fill the vacancies within our city and bring our team up to speed, and some of the projects that we have a vision for to move Selma forward in the direction that the council would like to see. We need to be able to give our staff the resources, and with computers being at the forefront of the number one tool that they need in their tool belt to do their job. I believe I've been here since late September, and I've seen so much of our staff just waiting on IT support to fix things. And so by us moving forward with the first step to kind of building our informational technology department per se, we'd like to request City Council to fund a full-time IT technician position to work hand in hand with DataPath, where DataPath kind of takes care of the technical issues, the more complex issues, and are fully funded. If funded tonight, the informational technology will be the day-to-day support for our city staff and our departments and our department heads to make sure that especially our public safety departments who have kind of felt the added need to keep those informational technology pieces of equipment, our servers and everything running so that we can provide the best service to our community. The monthly salary for this position is $4,600 to $5,945, depending on what kind of applicant pool we receive and based on the qualifications that these applicants come with. And attached to the staff report is the job announcement that will get posted to begin the recruitment process. And at this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions the council may have.
I just have a quick question. I have to say I was really thankful to see this on the agenda. And I'll tell you, just as staff with, their issues, I experienced an issue with DataPath. And I'll tell you, it took them 3 weeks just to figure out an email that I wasn't able to receive. And it didn't even go through the team that handles the the city of Selma. I had to go through an individual that handles the Los Angeles area. And so that brought so much concern because we're paying DataPath, what, $11,000 a month for our systems. So with this individual being full-time and sitting in our city here to help us and help the staff, is this going to take place of DataPath?
I wouldn't say at the current moment, we will still keep DataPath or we would still we would still have the need for a contracted IT department, but it would eliminate the need for an on-site support representative so that we don't pay the contracted prices. We have a city dedicated employee who is an employee of the city and is here to support city staff during their working hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. That's the goal, is allowing our staff to not have to wait until Tuesday until the representative from DataPath comes, or then again, if they have an issue on Wednesday, for the representative to come back on Thursday. And this is going to be a person who's going to be closely managed, and we'll have someone to report to at City Hall. It'll be me overseeing. And then as we grow as a city, it lays down the first layer of the foundation for us to be building on those building blocks.
I want to say that I've gone through a lot these last couple of years with our computer people. So I think that we really, really need this. It's really important. And I think it's just, we need to get this as quickly as we can.
And I just have to echo everyone's sentiments as well. Right before this meeting, I, had left my Surface or whatever it is to just get a password. And to this day, I haven't gotten a password, and called in today and they had already left. So I absolutely support this because it is very important, because it ties city staff's hands. And more importantly, with the implementation of all these new software programs that you really need to have someone here physically that knows what is happening and, has that day-to-day experience. And then would this person be the direct contact for DataPath? Is that, or would that be you, or?
Well, this representative will be the city staff and council point of contact. And then that person will then either dissolve the issue themselves if they're able to, or seek additional support from a contracted IT for something more complex. And so I just want to point your attention to the requirements for this position. We are looking for someone who's graduated from a four-year accredited college and has a minimum of 3 years of experience. So this person will have the necessary training to be able to provide us support service to the level we need. I would say without the exception of the management of our security system and our software and such, our servers and such.
That's absolutely, like I said, I am 100% in support of this. Because it's very critical, our staff and be able to move forward with what we need. So
Yeah, it seems like these are really elementary concerns that people have and they're not able to get them resolved, a password and then a firewall blocking an email. And for a company that's pulling down 11 grand a month taxpayer money, you would think they'd be more responsive. So apparently that's not going to happen. But if we have someone here who works for the city, that could be the face of IT, and they could escalate if they don't know how to do it, in their skill set. But it seems like that's really important to have that contact for the city.
Absolutely. And it's important to have a member of our team provide that support to have our share our vision and really lead all of our staff in the right direction that they need to do to get to do their fulfill their purpose in what their vision is or their contribution is.
I don't think I see data path other than when they want to sell us something.
They do
Remember
have
when they want to sell us a greater security program? I mean,
Did we approve that?
I don't even think we approved that. It just didn't, because we've had concerns for a while, I think, as a city.
Been a long
about them.
time.
Okay, does the public have anything they'd like to say about this topic? Anybody on Zoom or on the phone? Okay, is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro, Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Yes. Item 9, consider approval of an agreement for City of Selma Police Department to contract with the Fresno County Probation Department for a police officer assignment to the Fresno County Probation and Parole Adult Compliance Team. Chief
Good evening,
Operations.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I know that's a lot, it's a mouthful. So this position, this position is a historically position that we've had in the City of Selma Police Department since 2017. It could go back a little bit further, but that's 2017 is when we could find the records. That being said, in essence, what this position does is the Fresno County Probation Department has what's called a probation and parole adult compliance team. Acronym is ACT. So you'll hear that acronym throughout not only this presentation, but throughout the year. And ACT, what ACT does is I think 2000, Prop 47, Prop 57, we started having early releases from certain criminal statutes. The parole department did not have enough personnel to supervise these early release inmates. So the police and probation adult compliance team then kind of took on that role through the probation department, which is why it's through the probation department. Excuse me. That being said, what these members do is they actively ensure the compliance of members that are getting out early released. What we like about this position is by having a member on the team, unfortunately, many times these early release inmates are involved in ongoing criminal activity or getting back into criminal activity, if you will. This allows us, when we have a suspect identified that is on early release and part of it within that caseload of the adult compliance team, it allows us to send a team out of more than just one police officer, and it doesn't deplete from our patrol operations, if that makes sense at all, to go and pursue or find these suspects and then bring them in for processing of that case or case prosecution, if you will. So again, we've had this position since 2017. If not, maybe a little bit longer. And there's no fiscal impact with this position. I think with salary and benefits rough number back of the napkin is about $140,000. The Fresno County Probation Department will reimburse us up to $202,000, $842. That's for whatever equipment training that this officer may to go to, or overtime through the necessity of this team and the function that they serve. So with that, Mr. Mayor, or council members, if you have any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Chief Alcaraz? Got a question. How
Yeah.
long, Chief, would they do this? Is this pretty high intensity? Is there a greater burnout in this position? This is
You know,
frontline
the problem, or not problem, you know, we try to monitor our personnel, but once you get someone that's good with dealing with these situations or with these types of what's the word, specialized task force, it's hard to pull someone with all that kind of experience and knowledge until we can develop someone that we can replace them with. So we'll expand a little bit that on that when we get to the department updates, if you don't mind.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know that there's any burnout. We haven't had any issues to this point, but we're closely monitoring our personnel, especially personnel that are not working in the traditional sense of police officers, if
It's
you
a
will.
skill people acquire, have. It's an art.
It
people are
really
good
is,
at
right?
this or not.
Finding people that don't want to be found.
Does the public have any questions about this or any comments? Anybody online or on Zoom? Okay, with that, we'll bring it back. Okay, come on up, sir.
Jim Avenel, 1701. Good program, guys. The program Rudy talks about, it's been going on for a long time. I know. It's well needed in every community to keep our community safe. You know, public safety is a major issue in communities. It's a big factor. When I say public safety, I think includes fire and police together, working together and keeping our community safe. And what Rudy says is true. You have to put trained staff members to help individuals that get paroled and make sure they're monitored and keep them in check. Because, you know, you don't want them to fall off the wagon. And that's the responsibility of the probation department to monitor them and make sure they're on the right path. And if they fall off the wagon, consequences take place. It's a good program. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Is there a motion to approve this item?
I'll make a motion to
Is there a
approve.
second?
I'll second it.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Dara,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza, Navarro. Yes. Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Yes. Okay, no public hearings tonight, so we'll move on to departmental reports. Our Deputy City Manager Bates.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you for filling in for the city manager tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, City Attorney,
Nothing, just glad to be here.
thank you and welcome again. Our new Public Works Director.
Thank you. So staff recently helped remodel the Centennial Room here at City Hall, did all the demo. We had a contractor come in and do the leveling of the floor after we got it removed. It was worse than we anticipated, so they came in and assisted us with leveling off the floor and installing a new flooring material in there. We also removed a dangerous tree in Lincoln Park. That removal was done the beginning of last week. And they got it down, stump ground and everything, so that tree is no longer in the park, posing a hazard. Public Works staff has been working late evenings, coming in for the storms that we've been having, checking storm pumps, drains, making sure everything's unclogged to try and keep everything trying to keep things from flooding. And they've been doing a tremendous job, and everybody's volunteered to come in. And I'd really like to thank my staff for doing that. And on the last thing I have is Fernando Moran has recently celebrated his 15th year of service with the City of Selma and the Public Works Department. So thank you for your service, Fernando.
Fernando, stand up.
Stand
Good
up,
job.
Fernando.
15 years. Thanks very much for your service. Appreciate that. All right. I have a question for you, Director. The Salazar Center was recently red tagged. Or shut down?
It's closed for maintenance. We're working with the contractor right now to get some dollar amounts so we know where we're at. We may be coming back to council with that to request an allocation to make those repairs. So we've got several contractors working on getting us some numbers for those repairs.
What is the Boys and Girls Club doing in the meantime?
Currently, we temporarily have them at the senior center. So it works out nicely. The senior center closes at 2. Boys and Girls Clubs needs the facility from 2:30 on. So that's currently where they're housed until we can assess the damage at Salazar and then work on a more permanent plan if it's needed.
Has there been a drop off in attendance? Because that's typically an East Side club. Are there folks and parents who are having issues getting their kids over to the new
To my
location?
knowledge, we did speak with Ruby, who is the one of the heads over there, and she had mentioned that the majority of students are dropped off anyways, so it is a minimal impact to have it over here. Ideally, we would like to obviously bring it back to the Salazar as soon as possible, but obviously safety is our #1 priority. So we are working with what we got and doing the best that we can until then.
And what's the timeline for reopening?
We are unsure at this time because we're working with different contractors for the different needs of the center. And we'll hopefully have some more information to you guys at the next council meeting.
And is Delfina Vasquez, is she continuing her operations outside?
Correct,
Okay.
yes. So the Friday, the food distribution is still happening. They are doing that on the outside of
Selma
the
Cares.
building. Yes, they're doing all of that. So she's continuing with that as well.
Okay, thank you. Right. Fire Captain Donovan.
We would like to recognize the passing of former Fire Chief Roy Elwin Peak. He was born in 1941. He served the City of Selma community for 35 years in the fire department, 12 of which were as the fire chief from 1990 to the year 2002. I'd like to highlight a couple of his accomplishments. He's responsible for purchasing our first ladder truck, which is pretty cool. The white one you guys still see cruising around. He's also responsible for hiring a handful of individuals that still work for our department, of which including Chief Peterson himself, Division Chief Uresti, and Captain Demers. So again, we would just like to recognize the life of Mr. Peak as a public servant and all of his contributions to the city of Selma.
Very nice. Thank you for that. Police Chief Alcaraz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. So I have quite a few things. So we'll start off first, and I didn't want to interject earlier, interrupt and allow the conversation to go in the direction needed to, but just so that everyone's aware, we are getting a little bit closer to the speed bumps and ensuring the safety of our areas surrounding our schools. However, what I would say is that we want to take a holistic approach as to how we're going to accomplish this. And with that being said, we have about 10 schools in our city limits. So to come up with the game plan and say we're going to put a speed bump here at this location and then not address the others, we don't want that to happen. So we apologize for the delay in getting a more definitive answer as to how we're going to, as to what that holistic approach is. However, we have identified several different options that we might be able to use to ensure the safety. For example, on Thompson Avenue at about Lewis, which is unfortunately where the young ladies were struck by the motorists, we were thinking of doing what's called, for layman's term, a bulb out. So we actually extend the sidewalks out 6 feet on either side of the roadway so that it gives a visual of a narrowing that roadway to help calm traffic, if that makes sense at all. However, but we're gonna, we want to do our speed surveys, not just at one location, but at all the locations. And a speed survey is about $400 to $600 a piece. And then identifying where we can do those surveys or where those things are even possible as it correlates to the MUTCD, which is in layman's term, the traffic Bible, much like kind of the police department has their policy manual or our case law is our Bible. I hear that engineers have an MUTCD, which is the traffic Bible. So it's not just putting the speed bump out. It's making sure that we have the warrants and the data that are able to support those measures, and making sure that we're thorough and that we've given it some thought, not just at one location, but at all the locations. Because you all are well aware, if anyone watches the news on a daily basis, there's traffic collisions all over Fresno County. And motorists really need to be mindful when it's 8 AM or when they're driving. And it is 8 AM, 8 PM. We see motorists all over the place, not just in Selma or on the freeway, everywhere. And it's unfortunate. So we try to do some education with that. I know we've really ramped up our patrol and traffic enforcement. In December, we stopped several hundred motorists, and we wrote up just under 300 tickets just in the month of December. So we take the action that we can with the resources that we have, and we're always striving to be better. We're extremely empathetic to the families and the tragic and horrific events they've gone through. All I can say is that we want to be able to come with a holistic approach. A speed bump could cost us anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000. So if you multiply that times 10 schools, and then depending on the school and where it sits, they may need one, they may need two. Well, again, that's what those traffic warrants will tell us, what we can and probably what we should do. And then we can bring that back to council again to kind of get a better bead of what that's going to look like and how long it's going to take to actually accomplish getting these things done. Not that they're not important. It's just that as we're all short-staffed and the process takes time, and we want to make sure that we can bring something that's palpable to everybody, and then look at the pros and cons of each traffic calming measure as well. Because one thing I will tell you, one of our biggest concerns with the speed bumps is it will reduce or delay response times, because now we have $1 million apparatuses driving over these speed bumps that they're going to have to slow down, and as will the ambulance to and from calls for service. So we're trying to take all of those things into account before we say, hey, this is the measure we feel best, for the situation and for that environment. And each school will have its own kind of circumstances that will be, separate from one another, and we don't want to just say, hey, we're going to go to Thompson Lewis and we're going to put a speed bump, and then our citizens at Eric White are upset because we didn't mention that. So I want to be able to bring, or we would like to bring, a holistic approach to the speed bumps, if you would just bear with us. And again, my apologies to the family. These things just unfortunately take time, but we are cognizant of it and working towards ensuring the safety. And right now, for all of our citizens in Selma, please drive carefully, because our patrol officers are out and they are writing citations. So
I was gonna ask on that, because just driving in here, just right now, I witnessed right at that intersection on Lewis and Thompson, this truck did a U-turn right behind that, that's not a U-turn.
no,
There, you can't do U-turns there. And so they were dropping off or picking up a child, and then they did a U-turn right in front of that crosswalk. I witnessed it, and my sisters told me, that she sees that every morning when they're dropping off the kids and picking up, or, dropping off the kids in the morning. And so it's like, how we need to, I'm glad that the police officers are out there, because we do unfortunately need to write those tickets, because that's not a legal turn.
I would like to give you an example of some of the conversations I've had as being a new chief, and it's almost, it's unfortunately, it's funny, but that's the reality. I literally had as a new chief, and I literally had a citizen call and complain to me that he got a citation for making a U-turn in front of a school, and is upset. He was not upset that my officer wasn't unprofessional. He wasn't rude. He didn't deny making the U-turn. His complaint was he's always gotten a warning every year prior to. So again, it's comical, but the reality is, as we raise standards and expectations, and this will be the communication that we put out to our citizens, is that we all, not just the police department or public works and the city council, we all have a responsibility in this community to make it safe. Every single one of us in our own part, in our own ways. So, you know, as hopefully this weather gets better, we'll start doing some outreaches in the parks because I hate being in the office and I found myself in the office a lot. So we're we're doing our, I'm excited for the weather to clear up, it to warm up a little bit, and we can invite some citizens to have this conversation. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying that we all have a responsibility to make our community safer. Every single one of us. And
Like
that's all we're striving for. And as long as I'm the chief, you have my word that you will get everything that I have to make the city of Selma better. Because the city of Selma allowed me to be the professional I am today. And that means something to me. And I want to be able to give back. So.
Chief, I'd like to, real quick on what you're noting here. I want to make sure that I had noted here that it's music to my ears what you're stating, because when I was listening to the resident of, you know, how passionate she is about her family. Many years ago, we had a street and sign committee and everybody just laughed about it, right? But it was really serious. We had a couple of doctors and some attorneys there, and they would focus on where we should put the next stop sign, and they would do the analysis and find out where it was at. So my two questions, and I'm not asking you to respond for them, but I would like I know that the Councilwoman Guerra asked to be put on the agenda. Make sure you do the analysis on the cost of every speed bump, and then how you're going to do the analysis of which one you're going to pick first, where is going to be the immediate impact, and I would like that brought back to the council. So when we do have dialogue, we're having dialogue with some information already on hand, so we can kind of discuss and get to the meat and bones of things. And I'm not saying to the next meeting, I'm saying to bring it when it's appropriately ready, but we need to make sure that we do all our cross our, you know, T's and dot our I's, and make sure that we bring an analysis that actually we can afford and do. And I'm not saying afford, but do it the right way. So, and you know, it's music to my ears. We do outreach. We can do outreach too. So, but thank you for that.
Absolutely, Councilmember Trujillo. So that's kind of for the speed bumps and dealing with these traffic concerns and finding some calming measures that are going to work and have a more in-depth, really kind of digest it. This is not a problem that just happened, unfortunately. And again, like any problem, there's typically never just one answer to that. It's a multitude or a myriad of things that go into solving these more long-term problems. So we are working to get these things accomplished.
You know, some people have said,
and
Chief,
I appreciate your patience.
have
Sorry.
said that it's not remarkable that this happened. It's remarkable that more haven't happened because we don't have those controls. So, and I agree, there's no one size fits all approach here. But what's good about what we're doing is we're addressing it, and we just need to keep moving forward with addressing it and removing this. So Ms. Gonzalez never has, or anybody like her never has to come and say they lost a family member or had a family member traumatized. Because there's lots of good people in this town just don't realize how fast they're freaking driving around these schools. And if they had something to remind them or it was engineered out, they wouldn't do that. And that's why I requested speed bumps. It may sound simplistic to you, it probably is. But what my goal is to reduce the incidence of violence and damage and injury to people who are crossing the road.
I agree, Mr. Mayor, and that's my focus, you know. So you again, you have my commitment, Ms. Gonzalez, and the citizens of Selma. We are working, and this will be a team effort. It's not just the police department, we public works, engineering, planning.
I could follow up on one thing, Chief.
Yes, sir.
You were going to procure a body cam agency or a service that looks into provides body cams. How's that going?
So we're planning on bringing that in February when the city manager returns, just to make sure. Also, we're looking at our purchasing policy and that updating, as that will help streamline the procurement of those services. So those are all things that can delay starting a new project, depending on what that purchasing policy is. And especially, and I'll give you an example, we would obtained a quote. We're gonna have to go back and get another quote because 2 months have gone by and we're
good for 30 days.
Exactly. And you know, if inflation is gone. So, but then beyond that is ensuring that we have IT in place, because now there's another information system that we're going to have to manage. And then once we implement that process, we're held to PRA requests that we have to meet. And the PRA requests they don't care that we don't have an IT or that the system isn't working. So it's not just the body, but how do we support that program as well? Which then leads me to, so Mr. Mayor, that I want the body worn cameras as much as anybody. I will tell you that we probably get a lot of complaints that would be a lot easier to resolve if we had that body worn camera. And if our people aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, I assure you that we're going to deal with that. But then that's part of raising that standard and the expectations and changing the culture of the organization, which is what I'm here to do. So, and I'll just leave it at that, Mr. Mayor. So if I can continue, I didn't want to interrupt earlier. We do have many new employees. We have a new code enforcement officer. We have 2 new police officers. We have 3 new dispatchers. But my plan is to wait until we can do a swearing in, probably in conjunction with the fire department, so that we can take some time and really kind of
Be a nice one.
do a nice swearing in. On top of, we are actively recruitment and hiring is at the top of our list. So I'm meeting with candidates on the weekends, after hours, because they're in the academy. We're doing everything that we can do to go and find the best people that we can without lowering those standards and those expectations. Because I'm a firm believer, and I would rather work shorthanded than weak-handed. We can fix shorthanded. We can't fix weak-handed. So even though we hire someone, if they're not meeting the expectation, we just have to make good business decisions. So those are kind of the things that we're going through with the Selma Police Department. But we are actively recruiting. And I want to thank the council, all the council, with the salary increase, because that is tremendous when we're out recruiting, and especially trying to find laterals, which are what I call plug and play guys. You know, their training is shortened, and they're able to get out on the street working on their own, covering a beat a lot more expeditiously than maybe a new officer that has no experience in the field. So those are all things that we're trying to manage the best we can. HR, city manager, the deputy city manager has been extremely helpful in ensuring that we're grabbing people before they start looking elsewhere. But it's like a feeding frenzy at the academies, because there's all these chiefs like, hey man, can you trying to get your hands on people that aren't already sponsored, and that's why our cadet program will be crucial for the future of the Selma Police Department, so we can start developing and building our own personnel and putting them through the academy. Because that's the only way we'll be able to get people into the academy, is if they're sponsored. So
yeah.
I think I have it all. Oh, one more thing is, if you'll notice, I have a very stylish beard, and what we've done is we've changed our policy to our beards or facial hair policies for our police officers, as well as our tattoo policy. So you might see tattoos a little bit more often now, because they're not, per policy, they won't have to cover them up as long as they're not offensive. But what I wanted to say is these are all tools that we're using to ensure retention, and that our officers feel like they're in a great work environment. So that I just want to, when you see officers with beards or goatees, they should be well groomed. And we'll be closely monitoring this new policy. But I just kind of wanted to give you that heads up, because everyone makes a comment about my wonderful beard. No offense, Alvin, but but I just wanted to kind of bring that forward, because it's huge, especially in our profession. But it's not something new to the profession. So with that, I promise I'm done.
Thank you, Chief. All right. Community services.
I think for once, someone was longer than my announcement. Pretty good, pretty good. Mayor and council members, before we get started, I would like to offer a personal and sincere thanks. And if I get a little emotional, I apologize, to our police department and our fire department. Last month, I experienced a medical emergency here at City Hall, and the response time, the care that I was given is unlike anything that I can put into words. So it's it's easy for us to sit up here and say, hey, our public safety is awesome. But when you're on the other side, and you're being taken out in a gurney, to know that our people are here is just incredible. So thank you. You guys, please thank your teams. It was absolutely, I cannot say enough great things about it, the quick response and just how I was treated during that time. So I truly appreciate it. On that same note, last month we had our food distribution. Every month we do food distribution here for the city of Selma. And I had sent a request out to our two chiefs, our fire chief and our police chief. We knew the weather wasn't going to be as great. Normally our seniors volunteer and they're great help, but with the weather, we just wanted to ensure that we had a couple extra hands. And what I expected was one or two people to come out and help us lift some boxes. When I walked in, I'm pretty sure every available fire and police officer was here. They were helping. But in addition to that, and I'm going to embarrass you a little bit, when I walked in, our police chief was mopping the floor, cleaning up. So the reason to me that stands out is because I think that sets the tone for the leadership that we're seeing here in Selma and the changes that we've seen. We had our police chief who very easily could have tasked something like that to somebody else, and he was in there cleaning, helping, and doing what he had to do. It didn't matter that he was the police chief, he was just there to help. So thank you for that. Again, to know that we have that partnership. I think the partnership that we're seeing across all the departments is just, it's incredible. I've only been here for 9 months, but I can say that it's absolutely incredible to see that teamwork happen. So I do appreciate that. On the community services side, we did wrap up a recent show at the Art Center. And I'm proud to report another positive revenue for that, another nearly $4,000 positive revenue for that show. That was unexpected. So we're starting to make some really good things, or some really good revenue generations through some of these programs out there. We have several shows coming up. She Kills Monsters, Cinderella. The one thing that I would like to highlight more than anything, if you guys are not aware, during each of our performances, at least one of the shows is dedicated, and we bring in ASL interpreters, and these are sign language interpreters that stay for the entire show. And so when we talk about Selma as some people would consider a small community, we're doing really big things. To be inclusive at our arts performances is something that you don't even see at a lot of the larger cities. So I want to give a huge kudos to Nicolette and her team. The fact that they're so forward thinking in how they do these shows for a small community like Selma just blows my mind at how advanced or how forward thinking they really are. So congrats to them. I did sit down with both of my supervisors last week, and we did go over our mid-year. As you guys are aware, you guys get that budget, and in that budget, it talks about what our goals are for the year and what we're looking at. I'm very pleased to report, after meeting with both of those girls, that they have exceeded every single goal that they had set halfway through the year. So again, I'm proud of that team. They're working really hard. And then the final thing is there is a chamber mixer tomorrow night at Cattleman's. It starts at 5. So if anybody's interested and you guys want to attend, they're always a great time, great opportunity to get out there and get to know people. So again, that is at Cattleman's. I believe it's at 5. So, thank you. Oh, real quick, Schaefer Park bathrooms before I forget. Those, we are just waiting on the partitions to come in. Everything else is ready. As soon as those partitions go in, the plan is we're gonna hit the ground running with that. So big kudos. Fernando has been, our wonderful 15-year Fernando has been really adamant about getting this project moving forward, and very sure are ensuring that he keeps on me to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do. So I appreciate his effort and everything that they've done. So thank you.
Thank you. I had an email from a citizen regarding the condition of the roof at Brentlinger. They're saying the roof is in a state of disrepair and is in dire need of maintenance. The shingles are rotted and the flashing is loose. Is there anything that's being looked at for Brentlinger?
Currently evaluating all of our facilities. The plan is to come back in the future to council to let you know the status of all of those amenities and facilities.
Okay. And then now this goes way back. This is pre-Amy. This is Director Kirschner, who said, I'm getting bids for the reader board at Rose and McCall right there at Lincoln Park. This was a while back and we never heard anything else at the council. How are we doing on that?
I will definitely follow up with you on that. I need to look at.
Because it used to be just old school signs, but it was effective. It was right where the Veterans Park is now, where the monument, where
Correct,
the
yes.
sculptures are, the statues are. And it got the job done, and it was to be replaced by this higher tech reader board, and it hasn't happened. So I know people appreciated that, and it'd be a great location for it. And I think it's budgeted.
It is budgeted. Yes, it is a budgeted item. It is one thing, unfortunately, I have not gotten to yet. But I will look into that and I will bring it back. I will bring an update back.
Awesome, thank you. That will move on to council reports. Councilmember Mendoza Navarro.
Yes, thank you. I don't have too much, but I did want to say welcome to all of the new employees, our city attorney. It's really great to come and listen to all the great things that are happening here in Selma. You know, I've only been on council for a couple years, and the reason I ran is I felt like, why is the city not moving? What's going on? I felt like there was a bottleneck. And I thought to myself, the only way that I'm going to be able to figure it out or to make a difference is to actually step in and, you know, and see what I could do. And so to actually see that that bottleneck has, you know, wedged, and we've gotten great team, and to hear, you know, the collaboration between the departments and everything is really awesome to hear. So I was trying to remote today, but we couldn't remote today because I guess we didn't put it on the agenda to be able to remote, because I'm right there with you right now, Amy. And I don't want to cry, but I'll leave that for a minute. I wanted to talk about the signal lights on Thompson and Dinuba and the Thompson and Whitson. Those signal lights, thank you so much for changing that traffic. I don't know what it's called, but basically we had a lot of accidents, especially on Thompson and Dinuba. But now what's happening is people sit there and they're not sure when they're supposed to go. So there's no signs that say turn on green or you know, any signage. So Thompson and Dinuba and Thompson and Whitson. And then with I'm not sure if we just go and talk to the Selma Cemetery, but the sign, there's actually a blind spot. And I don't know if that's something that we need to talk to the city, the cemetery, or like city staff needs to talk to cemetery, or how that works. But the sign that's right on the corner of Thompson and I guess it's Floral, if you're making a right onto Floral from the high school, like behind the high school, that sign, if it just needs to be, it needs to be raised just a little bit so that you can, so it doesn't cause that blind spot, because it causes that blind spot. That, and then one of the things too, we didn't mention Mr. Glenn Alves that passed away. You know, he was a instrumental citizen, you know, just, I mean, you went to Portuguese Hall, you saw Glenn. You went to any events, you saw Glenn, you know, and so I just wanted to just let the family know that our thoughts and prayers are with them. And on a personal note, I want to thank the fire department too. I'm gonna get emotional. They were just like Amy experienced, you know, her personal thing. I had to call the fire department, or I had to call 911 because my son, as many of I've shared before, you know, he has type 1 diabetes, and he had an episode of DKA. And so he had been, I just knew something was wrong on Sunday, and I felt like I just blinked and you guys were there. I don't know what the title is, but Oscar was very, like, he was making sure that I was okay, making sure that he reassured that I was going to be okay. I don't even know that he knew who I was. And at that moment, I didn't even, was like, I just need to take care of my son, just take him. Unfortunately, that's why I said we needed more hospitals and more nurses. I could not see my son until today. So he was in the ER since Sunday. They didn't move him into a room until today at like, I think it was like 11:30 in the morning. So, but I just wanted to thank you guys and thank staff because it's, you know, it's reassuring to know that I'm get on the phone and you guys are there, you know, so, thank you.
Councilmember Trio.
I got all kind of chicken scratch here. First, I have a couple of things and I'm gonna embarrass somebody right now. I'd like to thank for my wife to coming for her first city council meeting to the city of Selma. So thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Another one is I'd like to welcome Miss Dodd. And like to Alvin Diaz, I'd like to welcome you to our finance individual, but she left already. I'd like to welcome them. One of the things about December and November, December and January, it's about giving, right? And I want to go back and thank, I got two organizations that I'd love to thank, and one of them is Selma Cares. I've been providing a breakfast for kids with exceptional needs every year, and we've been growing. And Selma has a lot, and a lot of communities around our town, you know, feeds the kids. But, you know, we do it at the Selma High School, and they're really not grateful to allow us to use the cafeteria. But across, right next door, it's the Selma Cares. So you got two agencies, just, you know, one's giving to the community, families, and then the other one's giving to the kids. How wonderful we can be as a city of Selma to offer that, you know? And, you know, I just think that it's, you know, a big thank you to Selma Cares and a big thank you to the, you know, the exceptional sports and youth with needs, you know, but it's amazing, you know, we talk about our staff and how good we're doing, but at the end of the day, you know, I believe that we're a team. Our staff we're all together and we're all wanting to work together and help in our community. So for that, I thank you guys and I welcome you guys. Another note is, in regards to, you know, we just got elected. We have the same council, but actually it's a new vision because everybody has gone out there and, you know, we fight our wars, but we also talk to our constituents and we come back with new ideas. If not their new ideas, they're actually the same idea, but with a different thought process. And then our job is to come back into the table and talk and discuss and negotiate what we want to do for the future of Selma. And during the negotiations, after 4 years in this council, I have come to realize that we could get more things done by not arguing. So because I state this, I would like for us, the council, to put back the code of conduct. I'd like our city attorney to bring it back to the next city council. I'd like for the city council to finance and bring another city attorney or attorney to put some teeth into the code of conduct so we can have some professionality and we can understand that we can agree to disagree, but discuss the items properly and move on and have the respectful conversation where we don't pinpoint and we don't do accusations. So these are things that I would like be brought back to the council. We can discuss it with our city manager and find out when there's the best time for that. And aside of that, I really want to thank you guys, and it was a good day today. We need to stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Guerra.
Okay, I have a short one as well, but first and foremost, I just want to thank the staff. I mean, it was just amazing to hear everybody, you know, working together, our new staff. I mean, it's exciting for Selma. This is an exciting time. And again, you know, we're officials that are elected and we're up here for a reason, you know, citizens put us here for a reason. And again, we want to all work together to make our community a better place. And I'll tell you, Chief, it's music to my ears because safety is, you know, my number one priority. It always has been. And to say that, you know, we're going to do everything we can to protect our children, our citizens is music to my ears. So thank you for that. And I want to thank the staff, everyone that's going to work together, you know, to find solutions. We may not be able to do it overnight, but the fact that we started the conversation and we're trying to find a solution, because that's better than what happened, you know, 5 years ago or 10 years ago, had nothing. And now we're finding solutions at this time and we're going to find a solution, you know. So I really appreciate that. And it's about working together. And again, this is a new year, positive year. I just want positive vibes. I mean, we want to work together and definitely be professional. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. So with that being said, the only complaints that I have received, unfortunately, is the trees that are in the Save Mart Shopping Center right there by Wendy's. They're almost tilting over where, you know, pretty much bending. And I know it's not the city's responsibility because that's a private parking lot, you know, or private owners of that. But when is the city going to make that call or connection to let them know, hey, these trees got to be trimmed down because it's really bad. And I think that's the only issue that so far, along with the, you know, with the floral issue that we have right there by the Walmart, you know, of course, we still get those, but unfortunately, it is what it is right now until we can get that resolved. But those trees, Deputy City Manager, if someone can look into and find out who the owner of that shopping center, they really need to get somebody out there to trim those trees. So that was it. That's it for me.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, I say I'd like to welcome all the new people, okay? And Happy New Year to everybody. I just took a break and it was well needed. So I'm ready to go this year, ready to go and move us all forward. And with all your support, thank you so much. And hopefully, like I say, peacefully. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I would say if you want a peaceful council, don't make snide comments and don't make personal insults. And we could have a really smooth approach and a really smooth time together in which we help the citizens, because all this other smoke is just a distraction. Completely agree. However, having a morality police or a code of conduct lawyer to come in to regulate free speech is not going to help, because that what could happen is, I mean, I'm hearing on the surface that, you know, this is going to be something that's going to be positive. However, it could just be a way of stifling dissent and discouraging debate. And that will not happen with me. You can bring in 1,000 lawyers and I will communicate what the citizens are telling me to communicate. Sorry if it's, you know, not what you want to hear all the time, but it's to make our city better. And that's why I'm here. And if that means we're going to have debate, yes. And talking about the Selma Cemetery District, I mean, if we had communication, you would know who's on Selma Cemetery District and you would ask the, you know, city manager, deputy city manager to contact them. I mean, we need to communicate with our other boards to get better. I'm excited about all the new people, all the new faces. It's really cool. And I encourage everyone. This is great. It's great movement forward. At the same time, we are here as a city council to provide oversight. We're not here to come in and gloss over things so that we all agree with whatever the majority is saying. That's not why we got elected. We got elected to make positive change. And most of all, to communicate what the citizens want, because we don't work here. We come here twice a month. So we're here to represent the citizens and to provide that oversight function. And we can do it in a good way. We can do it in a very teamwork approach. As long as we don't have the insults, the personal insults and name calling, we can definitely move forward. So I attended a Central Valley Training Center graduation, the 7th cohort. That was very nice, very inspirational. Mayor Pro Tem Cho's restaurant provided the very good food. Thank you. Rose and I helped the give out food at the Gurdwara next to the bowling alley. That's the other Sikh temple. Over 450,000 pounds of food was given out to the community. That's a lot. That was very nice. Cars just kept going through. That was awesome to be part of that. The future agenda item, could we bring back the capital improvement plan? I haven't seen that in a while. And we talk about how we've got no plans, no master plan, no nothing. We do. We have a capital improvement plan. Let's take a look at that again. Let's look at the community center. I really think we need to look at that in the context of improving our city, especially with budget coming up and seeing what we have the resources for. To me, that's important to have that, and we keep talking about that. And I think that's an important plan to review and to change if necessary. There's going to be a Calvan stakeholder meeting February 9th at the Visalia Convention Center for anyone who wants to attend. That's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Very interesting about what Calvans is doing with transportation and with resilience hubs. That's what's going on these days, and that's really interesting what they're doing with transportation and how that is working hand in hand with housing and housing options. Very important. Governor Newsom said there's going to be a $22.5 billion deficit this year. So we've gone from $100 billion surplus to a $22.5 billion deficit in 1 year. It can change really quickly. So, I mean, that's why we always need to focus on the finances. And again, I want to thank everybody for their hard work and looking forward to the positive changes for our city in the future. Do we have any comments from citizens before we adjourn for the evening? Come on up.
Isaac Garza, 12511 South Mitchell Avenue. Happy New Year. And first things first, how about them Cowboys? So I want to tell you a little bit about what happened on December 18th here in Selma, California with not even a nonprofit organization. Everything came out of pocket with raffles and everything like that. I want to thank the fire department and police department for being involved. Also, Fortner Towing, they came right along the same day. I got a phone call. Hey, we'll be there right now. Bill Yeager was our Santa Claus. I'm sure you guys all know who he is. He really cool, awesome Santa Claus. We went from house to house. We had 4 stops. The second stop was off by Nelson Avenue on the other side of the high school. Thank God I had extra toys inside a box because you would not believe how many kids came out of the houses, because as soon as they heard those fire engines, they were right outside to figure out what was going on. It was a blissful evening, and it was so heartwarming. This is our 7th annual event. Next year, well, actually this year now, it's going to be our 8th annual event, and we're going to continue doing fundraisers such as raffles and just keeping it original. We're not going to try to go for a nonprofit organization, only because we do not want to make it into a business. We want to make it from the community of Selma, so that way you guys could see how the community Selma gives back. And I want to thank you guys for being up here once again, and you will see more of me, I promise. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Jim Avenel, 1701 Dinuba. I have a few things to say. Thanks, guys, for talking about the consent calendar on number 3 and number 5 discussion. Thank you, guys. I know future discussion on that particular issue. And also, I'd like to thank the new people that are working for the city now. Thank you very much for coming on board, Team Selma operation. And also, I also want to thank Raina. Thank you for coming back, swearing the people in. Thank you very much. Got you on video, don't worry. And also I want to thank the Public Works. He just left right now. Public Works Department. Thank you guys for the rainy operation, staying on board. I know you couldn't get the Christmas stuff down, so I understand. But also I thank the people, the fire department that helped out with the Indian church out there on Golden State. Thank you very much. Tell your people thank you very much. We give a lot of food away. That was very well put together, well organized. And once again, guys, I thank the city workers that work for the city. Just the new year for them, 2023, guys, adventures. And Deputy City Manager, thank you, did a great job tonight. Give you a high five, okay?
You gotta talk to us.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got it cross-eyed, okay? But just remember, guys, when you're up there being sworn in as council, you're here to serve the people, not yourselves, okay? Remember them. And public comments and freedom of speech, this is America. You took that oath, guys. Remember that. Don't forget that. Don't ever deviate from the Constitution of this country. All right, guys? It's held this country together for a long time, and it's the right way to go, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, all. Mr. Mayor, Council, Michael Rivera on behalf of Waste Management, joined this evening by District Manager Brian Rogers. We just wanted to extend our thanks for yet another year to be say our hellos to the many new staff, and as somebody who's been at this dais for years and years, much as actually almost as many years as you, Mr. Robertson. It is really awesome to see a full slate of professionals here to really drive the city. To those of you who are new, been with WM for approximately 9 years now. Brian himself has been as well. We are basically your local operations hub. Brian manages how the trash is picked up. I get to deal with everything else. Absent tonight is Liz Gomez, and that's strictly because she has more family at home than the rest of us do. So we get to do the long night haul, but I did want to leave my contact information for the new faces aboard, answer any questions, and just assure that you guys know that we're here for you. So when those alleys go out like they sometimes do in the heavy rains, all it takes is a phone call to us to make sure that we're notified so that we continue to do that. We want to kick you off to a great new year. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Dollars. I live at 2743 Sierra Madre. So I'd like to tell you thank you. And I'd like to thank everybody and the fire department. My granddaughter they had to come to my house. They respond fast. I want to tell you guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being there for her. Thank you. Guys, I'm a shy person. I wish you guys do vote for the bumpers for all the schools, please, kids. I thank everybody for all the prayers for my granddaughter still being here, her and her friend. There are miracles. I cry. What happened to that 17-year-old girl? I gotta see counselor. I have to talk to somebody. I get emotional when something happens to kids. Oh, I told you guys the last time I volunteered at Indiola for 5 years free. I didn't want to get paid. I just did it for free. And please, you guys have to do something for Indiola too, over there too. It goes so fast over there. It's ridiculous. I had to go on the street to put the stop. I had to. And cars passing you, you're right there and they're passing you. And you see parents trying to pass, cross the streets. I'm just fighting for all these schools to get bumpers for the safety of these kids. And I thank everybody for your prayers for my granddaughter and her friend. Please, you guys, do something. I want to thank you guys for responding for my granddaughter and the chief. We have the best chief over there. I thank you for being there for me and talking to me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And my granddaughter and her friend. Thank you. You're the best. I was so happy when I found out it was him. He's going to take care of this town. I know he is. And we have the best mayor right there. I thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I was so happy you got picked again. I went out there and had you telling everybody we have the best mayor. We have to keep them there. And the staff, I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And the new people, thank you for coming to Selma and take care of us. Thank you, thanks from bottom of my heart.
Anybody else? Anybody on the phone? Do we have Zoom tonight? Okay, with that, we'll bring it back. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
We are adjourned. Good week, everybody.